Would you want? Okay, perfect.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on. My name is Ransom Nima. I'm a medical radiography student, my fourth year, and also a medical content writer and also a YouTube content creator. So today I have an amazing guest speaker all the way from the UK. Hey, Favor, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Favour Ebohon. I'm a first year medical student that's just finished, and I'll be going into my second year. I'm really grateful to be here and excited to speak with you today.
Amazing. So, we have a lot of questions, a couple of questions for you to answer. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so the first question for you is so before I move further, could you talk us through about obstetrics and gynecology? What does it mean for people out there that don't know what that means?
Okay, thank you so much. So, obstetrics is the field of pregnancy and childbirth. It's looking after pregnant women and their unborn children. So, all the way from, when you first realize that you're pregnant to, the birth of the baby. And obstetrics has a different role, depending on whether your pregnancy is high risk or low risk. So, those can be some factors that can play into that is maybe your age, certain conditions that you have or the conditions that your baby has. And then gynecology is just the study of women's health. So all things to do with, the female anatomy and physiology as well.
Amazing. So, thank you so much for talking us through about what that means, and so that draws me to the question for you. So, what really inspired you to pursue a career in obstetrics and gynecology? Talk us through.
Okay, so the interesting thing is, I didn't always want to be an obstetrician and gynecologist. I actually was very interested in neurology initially, and hearing learning about the brain in school, in secondary school, and how important it was to control so many things was very cool to me. But I realized that despite the brain being interesting to me, I didn't want to practice in that specialty. I think that doing things to do with the brain day in and day out, despite the fact that it's such a dynamic organ, I felt like it wasn't for me. And I realized as well that people who have challenges with their brain and nervous system can have a lot of chronic conditions. So it can be quite sad to see someone permanently in a sad position, especially if they have a condition that can harm and affect their quality of life. And I just felt that for me, it would be quite a sad environment to work in, despite the fact that, of course, it's a very amazing specialty that can, really make a difference in people's lives. So with obstetrics and gynecology, it's focused on something that's such a positive experience, which is childbirth. And a large majority of the time, a child or children are born. And I think just being involved in such a beautiful time, starting the beginning of someone's life, is so amazing. And I really do love children. And I think being part of that journey would be beautiful. So that's why I'm interested in the field.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking us through about the behind the scenes of what really, inspired you to, pursue a career in obstetrics and gynecology, which is an amazing stuff. I want to know something, right? How about what are your take on what's it called, abortion? What do you have to say about abortion?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Can I just clarify what exactly you mean, please?
Like during your practice, right? There maybe a pregnancy that is unwanted, maybe someone 16, 17 years could just come in, doesn't want a baby anymore or something. So do you so what is your perspective about that word abortion in terms of your practice, like in your course, your study of field? What do you think abortion is, for people that don't know what that means?
Okay, so thank you for clarifying that. So abortion, would be the termination of a pregnancy, whether it would be, due to medical reasons. So it could be that a pregnancy is inviable. It could have an impact on, the health of the mother, or it could be due to personal reasons. So maybe at that point in time, there are socio-economical challenges that a family may face that would mean that having a baby could be a challenge to them. And so abortion is, the way in which a pregnancy can be terminated for either one of or multiple reasons.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So that draws me to the next question for you. So can you share some of the key moments or like experiences from your first year of medical school that shaped your passion and goals? Talk us through.
Okay, so I think that first year of medical school has been amazing. If I had to choose a few moments, one of the first ones I definitely say comes to mind is when I had the opportunity to do a case presentation. So in my university there is a surgical society that held a case presentation evening, and I'd only been in the med school for about 2 months or so, but I just thought, well, let me take the opportunity. And I was, one of just two first years who took the opportunity up. But, in preparing and learning about a osteological condition called slipped capital femoral epiphysis, I had the opportunity to, learn much more about a condition I've never heard of before, and present as well, which was a great opportunity. And thankfully, I was able to come and runner up amongst, so many very talented presenters. So to have got to do something like that already as a first year was a really amazing opportunity that showed me that if you put your mind to something, you really can do it, but also that it's important to just take chances and opportunities, no matter how young you think you may be. And if I had to pick another time as well, it would be possibly my first time in the anatomy suite, seeing some cadavers, people who, really once walked around and, were alive, that have passed away and kindly donated their bodies for us to use to learn more of anatomy, was really humbling and really just showed me how much of a blessing and an honor it is to actually study the degree I do and to have access to something like that. So yeah, every time I've been in there, it's been quite a few times now, I'm always so, appreciative of that. So I think those are two things that have really shaped my time in med school so far.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So I want to get something straight. All right. So talk us through about your professors and lecturers in your school. Are they willing to help you as well in terms of shaping your passion and goals as well?
Yeah, definitely. The professors are amazing. Having the opportunity to learn from people who have got PhDs, who have done research. Some of them, you'd actually get to know as you're studying a particular area. They are some of the writers, who contributed to the work, and it's been so amazing to be able to have such positive examples. And also, anytime you have a question, they're very happy to clarify things, supportive as well. And yeah, honestly, the team at my university have been great.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So the next question for you is before I move to the next question, there are people in the UK or globally that will come across this video that are really the med students as well, like you are, and they're facing a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties in the school or maybe in the first year. So and you're moving to the second year. So talk us through. Sorry, um, when you finished your first year, you know it wasn't smooth for you. There are challenges you faced. There are a lot of difficulties you faced. So can you point those difficulties you faced and the challenges you encountered and how you overcame them, for the audience to get more enlightenment.
Yeah, so one of the challenges I think I definitely faced was coming in, and there are so many people who are coming from other schools or other backgrounds that have probably come top of their schools, very clever and intelligent individuals, and coming to a degree like medicine where there's so much to learn, so much to know, you can feel a bit like I don't know, like a fish out of water, feel like you're very in a different depth. And especially being someone who came straight from secondary school or sixth form or college, I was only 18 when I started medical school, so it's a completely different way to readjust to the learning environment and how we get taught. But thankfully, through just continuing to show up, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and being flexible with making changes, I was able to, find my own balance, find out what works for me, and keep applying those.
Amazing, amazing. Wow. So the next question for you is, so what was your experience like, after winning the Zero Gravity Award? So tell us there. And before that, could you tell us more about the award, ceremony, Zero Gravity Award? What does that mean? And tell us what was your experience like as the awardee of that amazing organization?
Thank you so much. So yeah, the Zero Gravity Award or scholarship is given to people who were members of the organization's, student community. So the organization aims to, support people from different backgrounds and help them to, be more socially mobile. So that can look like, providing you with a mentor that has maybe gone to a university or is in a particular field that you're interested in, and they provide you with support in terms of that. So the more that you engage with the platform, the higher your chances of being nominated for the award is. And thankfully, after being nominated and submitting my application for it, I was able to get the award. So it gives me a specific sum of money every year for 3 years. So I've received 1 year's amount and I'll be there receiving from them for the next 2 years. And it's been great. And I think Zero Gravity and their work is amazing.
Wow. Are they only focused on medical students as well, or is it like a variety of students from other departments as well?
Yeah, it's a variety of students. So from law background, geography, history, like anything that you can really name, really.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Okay, majorly, UK based company, right? Are they also diversified, like in terms of people from Nigeria or people from any other country except the UK? Is it possible to work with other students outside the UK?
I'm not exactly sure about whether they work with students from around the UK, but I do know that they're expanding to America. So there are some people who have through Zero Gravity been able to get into Harvard. So now there's Harvard students that are acting as mentors. So I think that is, a way that they're kind of pushing international boundaries. But if you were asking whether someone from a different country could, gain a mentor, it depends, honestly. I'm not exactly sure, but if I do find out, I can get back to you.
Okay, all right. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us about that. And congratulations on winning the awards. It's not easy at all.
Thank you so
It's not
much.
easy. So the next question is, what different perspective do you have about obstetrics and gynecology? Talk us through.
Okay, is it okay to just clarify the question a bit? So, what exactly do you mean by different perspectives, please?
Everybody has a different motives in terms of doing a particular course, right? Like for me, doing studying radiography, I have a different motive from my course mates. So you studying obstetrics and gynecology, you have a different, an analogy from your other course mates, right? So talk us through what energy or like what different perspective, like in general, do you have about your course, and how do you gonna use it to affect your society at large type of stuff.
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much. I really do think that obstetrics and gynecology is such an important field. In the UK, the medical degree often exposes us to a large majority of the, body systems that people are very aware of. So you've got like respiratory, cardio, these are things that, and maybe even nephrology. These are things that are like very obvious, to people, even from non-medical backgrounds. And oftentimes, obstetrics and gynecology comes up a lot, maybe in third or fourth year in particular, because you're coming to placements and you get to spend time on a ward and learn more about that area of medicine. But I think that it's so, so important. I wouldn't say, I mean, I could be very biased in saying it's the best specialty because it's the one I like the most. But it's so important. Obstetrics and gynecology supports you know, women in bringing new life into the world. And the work is so important because childbirth and pregnancy can be such a challenging time. There are so many changes that the body undergoes that can, be quite compromising to the health. But being able to support people in um, achieving such a wonderful milestone in their lives and in the life of their child and their family is what I think my perspective on obstetrics and gynecology is, and why I enjoy it so much.
Amazing, 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 amazing. So I want to know something before I move to the last question for you. You know, you do electives in your course, right?
As in visiting another country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you plan to move out from the UK to go over another country to do electives?
I actually haven't thought a lot about it. I haven't actually given it a lot of thought, especially because I did just start last year. But now that I'm seeing a lot of the final year students posting about their experiences, especially Jess Olo, she's quite a prominent figure within the UK medical scene and even internationally, to be honest. Her experience of John Hopkins and being in America really opened my eyes to how much great opportunities there are out there. So I think that I would definitely give it a lot more thought. I'm not sure if I want to go to America or whether maybe an Asian place or something like that. But at least if I had to pick today, my I would love to experience maybe an African country, possibly Nigeria, which is where I'm from, because I think it would be a nice opportunity to see what the healthcare setting that my parents experienced growing up is like, possibly.
Amazing, amazing. And for the record, Jessica is gonna be on my podcast, very soon because we're really, we're planning out some things, like the person you mentioned of is gonna be on my podcast very soon. So you
Okay.
should be on the lookout for it. And she's an amazing person, like really, really amazing person, and she's gonna have a lot of things to share for the audience, So you all should be very, very on the lookout for that. So yeah, thank you so much for talking us here about your future plans, which is an amazing stuff. And I believe that the audience are really inspired by your journey as well. So the last question for you, Favor, is how do you balance your responsibilities and interests, and what strategies do you use to stay motivated?
Okay, thank you so much. So I think how I balance my responsibilities and interests, it really does depend on a day to day. Today's been quite a busy day, with coming onto here and managing some of the things that I have to do outside of medicine. But one of the key things that I try to do is, make a plan, know what each day requires, or know what each week requires, and break those things up into smaller chunks. So if I know that there's a particular project that needs to be done, or whether I've got to plan something particular for a particular date, knowing what needs to be done on the Monday, whilst looking at what responsibilities I have from medical school on the Monday, can help me to know what should be allocated to a particular day. And if I haven't completed something, I aim to do at least some of it so that the remainder can be moved over. And then how I stay, motivated, a number of ways. I think reminding myself constantly of why I chose to do medicine in the first place can really help, because sometimes you're like, wow, this week is so difficult, it's really busy, how am I going to do this? But then you're like, but remember this time last year, you were praying to be here and now you're here. And this is part of the journey, it's part of getting to where you'd like to be. And I think as well, even just taking that time to have a pause is so important, and it's something that I'm really trying to implement a lot more. Is just stopping sometimes and saying, okay, yes, I will take a break now, so that you can come back refreshed, rather than constantly having the accelerator on and eventually breaking down or burning out.
Wow, 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 wow. Favor, thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest speaker, and I
Thank
know
you
that
so much.
you're
Thank you.
really really very inspired by your answers and initiative in these questions, and I know that the audience are really inspired and enlightened already. So before we wrap up the session, what are your last words for the audience?
Okay, I'd firstly like to say thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. When you reached out to me, I was like, oh wow, man, someone like me to come to share. And I was like, okay, let's have a look at what he'd like to ask me, because I really am just a very small person, within LinkedIn. I'm just, sharing a bit about my experiences really. But I'm really grateful to be here and to share with you guys. And I hope that, from the answers I've given, you've been able to find something beneficial to you that you can also apply to your life. And if there's any support or clarity that I can give, please do reach out to me. I'd be very happy to, answer any questions or even collaborate on opportunities. If there's other opportunities to speak, even research as well, or mentoring as well, I'd be more than happy to. So please just reach out to anything that you think that I would be of benefit to you for, and anything that you think could benefit me as well. Thank you so much.
Amazing, thank you so much. So if you wanting to reach out to Favor, she's an amazing person. We're gonna put the link to her socials, in the YouTube description below. So if you want to reach out to her, you can, do that ASAP, right? So if you love this content, do also like, share, and subscribe as well, and share to your network. Hopefully, someone in your network will really, love this video. Thank you so much, Favor. Thank you, everyone.